Right.
I wonder if they just heard
Hello.
that on the live. Hi,
That's
how y'all
okay.
doing?
Just being real.
This is Mark, Sylvia. How y'all doing tonight on
Welcome
this
to our
Sunday night?
kitchen.
Welcome to our dining area. We are here just to share a little bit about ourselves tonight, and also that to share about a marriage retreat that we just attended on Friday and Saturday and Sunday in Rochester, New York.
So it's called Weekend to Remember, and it was brought by Family Life, not the radio station in Bath, New York, but through Family Life.
It was hosted by Family Life.
Yes, it was very good.
Yeah, it was real good.
Friday night, started like Friday night, Saturday all day, finished off Sunday afternoon today.
Let's make sure they can hear us because sometimes we'll be live and your sound isn't coming in. Let's see if we're coming in. Our sound. Oh, it says we're live, and let's see. Wait a minute. Our sound. Yes, we are. It says we're live.
We're live.
So it's working. Just have to make sure because, again, in the past I've had audio issues. So Mark and Sylvia Reindock here. We are here to share a little bit about ourselves, and we just attended a Weekend to Remember Family Life Marriage Retreat in Rochester, New York. Stayed at the Hyatt from Friday till today. It was a great time, a great little refresher, reset, whatever for your marriage. The sessions were great. The speakers were great. Everything was good. It was a great, I keep using that word a lot, but it was a good retreat, great retreat. And so we just thought we'd come on and share. We've been married
23 years.
23 years, 24 in July. And we actually dated for a while before we got married. We dated for
14 months.
That was the engagement, honey. So we dated for a year before he proposed. Right? He dated for a year. Now, another part of the story that we won't go into details right now is that he pursued me for 9 months. But we dated for a year, and then he proposed. And how did that go? Tell me. Let's tell him what happened.
It went great. My wife started laughing when I asked her, and I said to myself, that's not in the book.
There was nothing in the manual about that. And so we had been dating for a year, and he decided to propose on our anniversary, 1 year anniversary. And we were at his apartment.
I cooked dinner.
He made dinner, and we actually ended up watching the movie
Titanic.
The Titanic. He went out and bought these speakers so you can have surround sound.
I went out and bought a TV, an entertainment center, and the movie Titanic.
I thought that was the surround speaker.
Yeah.
Okay, so he went out and bought that, and he had it all planned out that he was going to propose that night. I had no idea.
Well, the thing was, just a backstory. So we shop at this one jewelry.
We're not telling that part right now, honey. We're not telling that part. We're just doing a high level overview of our engagement. We're not doing details tonight. Okay, honey? We're just gonna do, how did you propose?
Got down on one knee.
You don't know.
One knee. You started laughing. And I said to myself, that's not in the book.
Well, yeah, he got down on one knee.
He's like, oh. And it was the Saturday before Mother's Day.
It was, but he got on one knee. The lights were turned down low.
Had the romantic music on.
Yeah, after we watched the Titanic. Apparently, this was after we watched the Titanic, right? And right, was it? It had to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the Titanic was a different time.
I thought you had got
Okay.
all that for the Titanic. So
Okay.
so the lights were down low. We had watched the Titanic. I'm gonna say we had watched the Titanic. Was there some music going on? Or you don't remember?
Probably.
Okay, probably. And so the lights are down low. We had been close on the couch. And so I can see his silhouette. Is that what you call it? So he slowly gets up. And I'm like, what is he doing? What is he doing? But he slowly gets up. And it's like he was in slow motion. And then he gets down on one knee. Stop it. Stop. And then he gets down on one knee. And I'm still like, what is he doing? And then I see him, well, maybe as you were going down on one knee, he was pulling something out of his pocket. And I'm like, again, what is he doing? And I think he was pulling out his pocket, gets down on one knee, opens the box and says, will you marry me? And I just started laughing because I didn't expect it. I was married before there wasn't a proposal. And so I was like, just started laughing. And he's like waiting for me to say yes or no. And then I was like, yes. And I put my finger out and he put the ring on there. And then he's like, well, I have a friendship ring I bought you also that I want to give to you. I guess prior to him deciding to go ahead and give me a diamond, he had a friendship ring. It was a heart ring. And the diamond was a heart diamond too, because I love hearts. And unfortunately,
and diamonds.
I love hearts and diamonds. And so he's like, well, I didn't give this to you yet.
Ask me again.
He's like, well, I didn't give you this ring yet, but I had planned to. And he's like, so you want it now? I go, yeah, ask me to marry you again. So he put that one on the other finger. And as you can see, I have a heart ring, but that ring was a heart. And so that's kind of our proposal without all the details. So, because he was about to go into all the details, but we can tell that one another time, maybe on a longer show. And so that was our proposal. It was very romantic. My husband is the romantic one in our marriage. I'm not. Okay, so and don't judge me because I'm not, but it's okay that he's the more romantic one in the marriage. Just throughout our courtship, he was very romantic, and he still is, but not as much. But he's a more romantic one in the marriage than me. I'm just not the romantic kind, like he is, and that's okay. That's okay. So that's our proposal story in a high level nutshell. Just talk a little bit about this weekend to remember that we went to at Hyatt in Rochester through Family Life marriage retreat. So Weekend to Remember is the name of it, by Family Life. So we got these books and we went throughout the whole book throughout the weekend. And they had 3 couples that shared with us about their lives, and there was illness because their daughter, 3-year-old, their 3-year-old daughter had a life-threatening illness, and then there was infidelity, and there was mental illness, and one couple had 5 children, and one couple they had 5 or 4 children, and then another one had 3. But anyway, the focus was on our marriage and getting to a place of oneness in your marriage. That was the focus, getting to a place of oneness in your marriage. To me, that was the main thing, but there were other things about being transparent, how to deal with your wife, how to deal with your husband, giving us tools to help us in our marriage. Now, we've been married, again, 23 years, going on 24 this year. And no matter how long you've been married, because there were couples there. And what I love about doing something like this, because it's been 20 years since the first time we went to a marriage retreat, it was one of these Weekend to Remember through Family Life. And it was actually in Rochester at the Hyatt over 20 years ago. and we haven't gone back since because we didn't even know they were still having them. We thought they kind of had went away, but for 9 consecutive years, they've been coming to this area, coming to Rochester,
or even
longer, and so they are still having them. But we did this book, which was great. The sessions were right on time. They stayed on schedule. They gave you we took a lot of notes. The book is set up where you can take a lot of notes in the book, write down what they're telling you to do. Great retreat. I would encourage any married couple to go. What I love is the diversity of the couples. When you go to, it was over 500. It was about 500 people there. So there've been like 250 couples. And some of you may be familiar with this retreat. You may have gone maybe in the past, but it was over 500 people there. They have a very sophisticated setup.
And then the couples that were there, and there was the oldest couple there was married 57 years.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if this person was joking, but they said that the newliest wedding married was one day.
They had got married the day before.
And then they decided to come to a family like marriage
retreat. Yeah. And so they were like, okay, who's been married here? They said 1 year, like 1 month.
No, the longest first.
Right.
57 years. And then let's go to the shortest.
And
then it was 6 weeks.
Yeah.
3 weeks. And then one couple.
They yelled out 1 day.
1 day.
And they thought they were kidding. They thought they were kidding. And then they were like, they said it again. 1 day. And they're like, are you serious? And they stopped like, you got married yesterday? Yep. And now you're at a marriage retreat today?
And so the nice thing about, just seeing that was it doesn't matter if you just got married this weekend or you were celebrating your 57th wedding anniversary. There's always good, renewal. Just learn different things about your marriage. That way it doesn't get stagnant because married to somebody for 57 years. You have probably new ideas and new things have to come in that relationship to make that relationship grow.
Yeah, what I did, like I said, the diversity of the couples and even the couple that had been married 1 day was there. There was, again, like you said, there was a couple who had been married 57 years. So it doesn't matter how long you've been married. This was a good little refresher or reset or whatever, a shot in the arm, some help. I mean, because there were couples, when you go into these settings, there's couples there that are dealing with all kind of issues, whether it's infidelity, infertility, grief, just mental illness. It's a lot of children, parenting, blended families. We were somewhat of a blended family. Mark didn't have any children, but I brought children to our marriage. But it's just all walks of people in their life and in their marriage. And it's just great to see the diversity of the people that is in a setting like that and all the different couples. And wasn't many couples like,
well, the one thing that I liked about it was they were real.
That's good.
There's some conferences that you go to and you're just like, and you're like, oh, you're fidgety and you're moving around. I'm just being real. There's been conferences that I've been, it was Friday night, and then Saturday basically started at 9 a.m. and went till 5:40 in the afternoon, and then we had a date night. So, and I can honestly say for myself, it was real. The speakers were real. The couples that had already been there, they use real
life stories.
Yeah, real life stories to let hey, you're not the only couple that has been here, that maybe struggle or even like there's some couples that married 1 day, so that's good because now marriage is not easy as and that's good. But 57 years old, maybe that was just a refresher for them, or people in the middle, 20, 25 years, 30 years,
Yeah.
you know, like they had loose ends. There was something that was going on in their relationship, and they were like, we need this to, you know, like, you know, you're not at the beginning of your marriage. You're not 57 years, but you're right in the middle, you know.
Yeah.
So, and then it's one thing that stood out was they talked about how do you want to see your life in 25 years,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that you know, so for me, for Mark, there was this they had real stories about couples that, you know, one couple stand out, you know, and I'll just say, you know, they had a baby together and they had autism, you know, and it's just trying to understand, like, we know that God is real, God is on the throne, and he's in charge, but you just don't understand. Like the one couple that was there from North Carolina, their 3-year-old daughter almost died, you know. So it was real life stories. It wasn't just sitting there falling asleep. You know, for me, it brought you in to real life things, and things that, you know, to strengthen your marriage. Like, again, whether it was one day in marriage or 57 years of marriage.
And so one thing we did, one couple, there were 3 couples they used this weekend, and this Family Life, if you're familiar with them, marriage weekend, remember, marriage retreat is all over the nation. They had 2 other ones going in different states, 3 other going in different states. But one couple, and see, and like you said, like you go to something like this, and I would say sometimes it's like the couple up on stage is, you know, is they got everything together. They haven't gone through much of anything. I guess you maybe can say that. I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, that's kind of the couples they had. But these couples one couple was very raw and real, or real and raw, sharing about the infidelity of her husband, and also before that he had a substance abuse. And so one thing with them is that she chose grace for him versus she could have chose to divorce him.
Yeah.
And she chose grace. And we know it's not for everybody. Not everybody's going to choose grace. But she chose grace. And it was like the enemy of their soul was after the whole of what they were going to be. Like even standing there this weekend and sharing what they were sharing. But the raw and the realness of the retreat itself was amazing. And you know, let's keep it real. We got an argument before we left, and we was like almost like not gonna go. I mean, and you know what? It was very common for other couples that actually before they came, they got in a big argument. And then they say you're probably gonna get an argument on the way home. When we got an argument on the way home. And that this is not to say that the retreat didn't do anything. It's just keeping it real of being married. You are going to disagree. You're going to have arguments, but they're giving you some ways and tools to work through those times when it's like that, or get to the point where, you know, if you do get an argument, you move on. You don't hold it.
I'll have to just say that, you know, so a marriage. Okay, so, you know, you may agree or disagree with this, but you can just get married and live happily ever after, and not know God, not have a relationship with Him, not be able to minister to different couples, you know. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, but there's people that are married 75 years probably that don't know the Lord. But there's just something about you know, what marriage stands for, and it's you know, God created marriage between a man and a woman, you know, and it's, you know, and so what I'm saying is the devil doesn't want to see couples together, and that's the thing about, you know, like we shared, you know, like we're getting ready to go and something happened and we had a fight, and so, you know, with marriage, it's a serious thing. It's not just I do and happily ever after.
Mm-hmm. And so you're gonna have conflict, disagreement, and many of us know that are already married and who've been thing called marriage for a while, like years. You're gonna have those times of conflict and yeah, you're gonna have, but going to something like this refreshes you and reminds you.
Just say like why is there going to be conflict in a marriage? Just explain that.
Why? Because we're two different people.
Right. Yeah.
And so God didn't create us to be the same, which that's a great thing, because even you complement each other. You should complement each other in who you are and who God, and I titled this God Did This, because only God could have did this with me and Mark being together. I mean, look at, just the outward appearance of our differences, but that's not what God is concerned about. And I know that's what people see, but God is concerned with that inner man. And so, but God did this, because I've been married once before. He had never been married. And, but yeah, you're going to have conflict. You're going to have differences. You're going to have whatever in being married, but you can get tools, and there's things out there to help us in our marriage life. And so thank you, Shantae, for sharing. Shantae shared amen. She's a married woman. Yes. Marriage ain't no joke. I did that on Clubhouse, a little series, Marriage Ain't No Joke. It really is not for the faint at heart. Marriage is the real world. It really is, because we were kind of like in the retreat this weekend. You're kind of like in a little, it's a nice little thing to be in, but even couples there were still, I think we were still having conflict on Friday after we got back into the hotel room, or before the hotel room, but yeah. And so it is working through those things, but we want to go ahead and share some of the things we got from there, because we're trying to keep this just in half an hour. It's been a long day for us. We got home, we unpacked, doing laundry, got to get ready for tomorrow. And so they had, of course, a lot of books there. Mark ended up getting this book right here. It says for men only, and it's a daily devotion for men, right, honey?
Yes.
And look like it's a revised and updated. They had one for women, but I have a ton of devotions that I didn't need to buy another one. And then along with that book, we got 4 for 1, and they got Tony Evans' Kingdom Marriage. We have Drawn Together. This is a couples devotion. Now that's what I really desired for us to have, a couples devotion. So we got that book, and we have, I like this one, Fight Fair.
Bring it up so people can see.
Oh, Fight Fair. I like this one.
Without losing at love.
Yes. And so you can learn to fight fair without losing at the love that you have for each other. Again, this is one on Fight Fair. Drawn Together, which is the devotion for women.
Nice thing is about, look at this. So this one says, Fight Fair, winning at conflict.
Yes.
See that? Fight fair, winning at conflict without losing at love. And because, like my wife said, we're two different people. So there's going to be conflict. You're going to say tomato or tomato. You're going to say it's sunny. One person is going to say it's cloudy. So you're going to have conflict, and that you need to deal with the disagreements, because you are two different people. God didn't put together the people that are the same.
Right. And so, yeah, he definitely God. I have to say, God has a sense of humor when he puts people together. And so, Kingdom, what is that? Kingdom Marriages by Tony Evans, and then Mark's devotion. We also we bought this is they had 2 little books there. Tips for the wife and for the husband for romance. Now I definitely need it, because like I say, I'm not the romantic one. My husband, he's the more romantic one. I am not at all romantic. If I am, God is telling me, like, Sylvia, do this. But I think these are cute little books, but it's for him, for her, and then it gives you tips to be more romantic. So I definitely will put mine into practice. And then these little cards came with it. not with kind of with it, and they're called combo cards. And they actually we went out to eat last night because they gave us they said go do your date night tonight, and they also wanted us to write a love letter to each other by the time we left today. Mark did write his love letter. I wrote my rough draft. I got to finish it tonight, and then you read it to each other. But these combo cards that they have, and it's like regular cards, but they have these little
writings in the back.
Little writings that get you having a conversation. Like if you could instantly learn a new skill, what would that be? It's just to have conversation. So when we went out to dinner last night, we took these with us. Now, when we go out to eat, we do purposely make sure we have conversation because I know there's couples I see sitting at dinner and they ain't even talking to each other. They're just eating. And I'm not saying they're not having conversation. And I'm not saying they're not having conversation just because they're eating. They just ain't having conversation. They're just out to eat together and they ain't even talking to each other. And so, what? This one here?
Yeah.
And so these cards are great little conversation starters, but we used it last night when we were out to eat. And then at the end, they had us sign this covenant card or agreement, our oneness covenant. And so it was learning, it was teaching us about going towards oneness as a couple. We know we're different and separate individuals. God made us different, but he put us together, and then it's working through the conflicts that arise because we're going to have disagreement, conflicts, but learning how to given some tools to work through that.
The nice thing, in this book, and I was just showing you, like it has different categories, and some of them were the dream for marriage. Are you living the dream? Let's talk. And the nice thing was it was just different sessions. And the nice thing is the sessions weren't that long; they were like an hour. It wasn't like a 3-hour where it's just like, wow, I'm just being real. You come into a conference, you come into wherever it is on a Friday or even Saturday when you're just sitting there all day, and you just get tired. And it's just, they talked about, are you living the dream? Let's talk. The forgotten dream. How the dream comes crashing down, God's power for oneness, let's fight, and let's talk about sex,
And we talked about
that. Even they had, a blended breakout session today, a man session, just men, and a woman to woman session, and then the mission for our marriage, and then the make the dream a reality.
Yeah.
So that's how I close it out. So I really appreciate how Family Life put it together.
Yeah.
Again, it wasn't like, I'm just, being real for myself. Just it wasn't drag out like 3 hours. Like, oh my gosh, like when we're gonna have a break. It was an hour. And I'm not saying they threw everything together, but I believe they brought the main points about your marriage and God's marriage and how He wants to do it. Within 3 days or 2.5 days. Because like I said, the first session I think started at 7:00 on Friday, and then it was 9 a.m. Saturday till 5:40, and then 9:00 this morning.
And so as we wrap up, this we like to leave you with this. We did buy these shirts, and it says. Of course, it doesn't read backwards. What does it say?
Marriage is worth it.
But look how it crossed.
Marriage is hard. Yeah. And so it crossed out hard, and marriage is worth it.
Yeah. Marriage is, and so, we don't get married to get divorced. I don't believe that anybody walks down the aisle and says, and they get already spend all this money and say, we're going to get divorced in so many years. We're going to get married, have kids or whatever. And then we're going to get a divorce. Nobody gets married to get divorced, but it happens. I was married one time and I got divorced and now I'm remarried again. But marriage is worth it. It's worth it. 12 years, the first marriage. Now we're almost 24 years. It's worth it. It's not easy, but it's worth it.
Right.
It really is.
The biggest thing is, there's going to be conflict. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be arguments. And the biggest thing is, how are you going to deal with those? Are you going to shut down? are you going to stuff? And, like one session just talked about what we do, like when we have an argument. Do we shut down? Do we stuff it? Do we, fight? Do we yell? Do we scream? And like, one thing about the man thing today was just like, like us men have enough things going on as it is, just to try to be a husband or a father. And I, just I believe for myself, it was, we get disappointed if something doesn't happen, and that's where we need to take it to God and ask God to help us because if something doesn't happen, we get disappointed.
Amen.
So I really enjoyed the, it's here. It was already here and gone already. The biggest thing is, what are we going to do going forward to strengthen our marriage?
Amen. And so we just want to come on tonight and just share a little part of ourselves and our lives and our marriage with you in this retreat that we attended. It was really a great retreat. Got a lot of good tools. We plan to implement what we received this weekend. We bought these books. We ain't pay all this money for these books to let them sit here. We will be implementing, reading through these books and implementing what they have in the books. But we just want to encourage people who are married. It really is hard sometimes, but it's worth it. And so we hope to come back on again and keep sharing as a couple, whether it's about marriage, about life, about your relationship with God, and just hopefully be an encouragement to somebody. And that's it for tonight. We wanted to keep it short and sweet, or to a half an hour. And because we got to get ready for the next day, and we've been gone all weekend. But thank you for joining us. And we did a pop-up, and right now that's what they're going to be. We don't have any set times. So people who need consistency, or the algorithms that need consistency, which we're over on YouTube also, then I guess we won't get that whatever that is need for whatever. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. So thank you for watching, and until next time, live well, take care of yourself, and God bless.
Have a great night. Have a good week.